I recently achieved Candidate Master of Sport in the Kettlebell Snatch discipline. This means I had to crank out 65 reps in 5 minutes with only one arm switch. I was able to crank out 85 reps in the end with one no count because I lost balance right at my first step. Nervousness got the better of me, but it doesn't matter. I was able to do this because I had a great prep and an awesome warm-up. And now I want you to experience this 20-minute warm-up that you can do every day, and it's perfect for over 40s, and it's gonna change your life. And if you're over 40 and you want to become strong, fit, and lean without going to the gym twice as fast, then download my free ebook in the first link in the description. Grüezi miteinander, Gregory von Lebe Stark here. I was using the ramp protocol in this particular warm-up. R stands for raise, which means I was raising my body's temperature. A stands for activate, which means I was activating the muscles, the relevant joint actions of my body. M stands for mobilize, which means I had to mobilize every single joint that is involved in the particular performance. P stands for potentiate or practice, which means I had to practice the particular exercise that I had to perform in. So without further ado, let's jump right into the warm-up. And just in case if you're wondering what kind of kettlebell I'm using, it's the Pro Kettlebell by my friend Nikolai Puchlov, proudly made in the USA. Check the link in the description to get your Pro Kettlebell right now. And don't forget to use our code LEBESTARK to get 10% off your next purchase. All right, so let's start with raising the body's temperature. Now, the one thing that I'd like to note is I don't think that you have to do it in this perfect chronological order. What I think is that you want to include all the 4 letters. And if you choose one over the other, or one thing goes first, so you do the mobility first and then you raise the body temperature, I don't think that's an issue. So here's what I do. I just do some simple steps, some lateral steps, then walking, running backwards. So friends came in to visit Angie and my competition in our set. And so I told them, I said hello, but I told them, listen, I'm warming up, I'm highly focused, so I'm not gonna shake your hand, but I'm gonna wave and say hello. These are flutter kicks. I came to love flutter kicks. It's actually, you don't have to do them aggressively and very fast. You can just do them easily. And as you can see, I don't really lift my legs or feet off the floor. Now, here come a minor variation of high knees, a little bit of ninja jumping. And now butt kicks. Again, as you can see, I don't do it aggressively. It's just the idea that you want to raise the body's temperature. That's the basics. Again, jumping into lateral steps. And you can cover the distance that you have available. We have 80 square meters approximately in our gym where we train, right there where it's divided by the artificial grass. And so I came to love this type of warm-up that I do it almost every time I do my own workout. It takes a little longer. Of course, you don't have to do it. It doesn't have to be 20 minutes all the time. But in this case, it was just helpful because I knew, hey, now I got to perform. So I was already prepped. My body was ready. And now I knew I'm going to perform in 20 minutes. So I'm going to take my time to do the warm-up. Again, a little bit of shuffling. And I was really taking my time. High knees again. And I can't tell you how awesome I felt after the warm-up was done. I was so ready. I felt that I started to sweat a little bit. And I felt so awesome. And that's the reason. That feeling is one of the reasons why I incorporate at least part of this warm-up before I do my training. Now some shuffling with both feet, cutting a little bit. And I always like the ninja vibe. Now I start to just engage the upper body just a little bit. And that ninja vibe is always making sure you stay on your toes, right? Still shuffling left and right. Shuffling with both feet at the same time, which is a little bit harder to do. And here we go, lateral side step again. Using the upper body, starting to do a little bit of shoulder rolls. It's just simple stuff. It's nothing fancy. It's not something that you have to dedicate a lot of time to learn. There's no technique. It's just shuffling left and right, standing on my toes. And here we go with the lateral side step again. And now here's the karaoke step. I learned this from my sensei, Steve Carter. Great for coordination. And you always want to rotate the hips as much as possible with the karaoke step. I remember when Steve Carter certified Angie and me back in 2019, and he said, now let's do the karaoke step. And I was like, what? So we go again, lateral. Now the jumps get a little bit bigger and wider, so the lateral shuffle becomes a little bit bigger, because now I feel like I'm getting ready for the second part of raising the body's temperature. So now the steps get a little bit bigger, and all the time I'm highly focused. Switching sides whenever I feel like it. And I want to emphasize the fact again, I'm just doing these lateral steps, that shuffling, these high knees, flutter kicks, butt kicks, jogging, stepping in place. Now the pace is a little bit faster, but it's not that I want to overdo it. And so this was approximately 5 minutes, and I already felt warm, which is exactly why you want to do this. You want to raise the body's temperature. And I felt like, oh, my body starts to sweat a little bit. That's perfect. It's now time to move into the second part, and that is activating and mobilizing the joints and the muscles. And I take a big step forward into a lunge, and now I am slowly trying to loosen up my femur, the big upper leg bone in the hip socket, and I have great mobility, so I want to mobilize it and get ready for it. And so I'm on my toes, and then I'm shifting the hips and the knees. I'm circling them back and forth. I also call this the Spidey stretch. This is such a great feeling, so I had to work my way there. And so here comes one part of this powerful warm-up that they call the world's greatest stretch. So you lift the arm up, extend it overhead while the other arm is still on the floor. Then you bring your whole body down to the floor, extending one leg, and the other leg is fully bent to the knees, and now pushing the hips down as far as I can. And now doing the same thing on the other side. Again, I am mobilizing the hip joint or the upper leg bone, the femur, in the pelvis, in the hip socket. Such an awesome and great feeling. So I kill two birds at the same time, or with the same stone, mobilizing the right leg while the other leg is getting a nice stretch in the hip flexors. And even Pavel said this. This is such a great quote from Pavel Tsatsouline, where he says, you want to make sure that you loosen the brakes on the muscles. If you have brakes on the muscles, you'll never be able to perform well. So again, part of the world's greatest stretch, arm up while the other arm stays down, shifting the whole body weight backwards, making sure one leg is fully extended while the other is bent, shifting the body forward, knee down, now pushing the hips down as far as I can. And this is what I call the Spider-Man stretch. A powerful, powerful, powerful stretch. And now some yoga poses. Dipping back and forth. Now pushing the knees down, lifting the hips up, extending the arms in front, pushing the chest towards the floor, and I'm dipping a little bit, vibing. I love it. Now one leg is to the front, the other leg is extended in the back, and my body is fully tilted towards the floor so that I feel the stretch right in my legs again. And now I'm shifting my body back and forth. And I just go by feel. I feel what I appreciate, what my body enjoys, and that's exactly what I want to do. So I feel I'm already pretty ready, and now some form of a prying goblet squat. So I sit into the bottom of the squat. Again, I have great mobility. If you're not able to go as deep, don't worry. So again, I'm vibing from the left into the right side, dipping a little bit back and forth, bringing my arms around my ankles, sitting deep in that squat position, extending the arms overhead, loosening up the joints a little bit, and now we move into the neck. So neck circles, simple stuff. It's so important to really release the tension that you have in the neck. Now shoulder rolls, and I start walking. And here I'm already pretty warmed up, and I still have about 10 minutes to go. So shoulder rolls to the front and to the back. And now extending the arms overhead, keeping them fully extended, fully locked, so no bent elbow. I inhale as I pull the arms up. I exhale as they come down. Now I'm switching sides, making sure the elbows stay extended. And now we go into this T-spine area. So I'll open up and I'll close. And when I open, I inhale. And when I close my arms in front, I exhale. Proud chest and then hunchback. Great for the T-spine. And now swing the arms from the left and to the right side to mobilize the lats, the hips, the back. Using my arms, swinging them to the left and to the right so that I feel that my core and my sides are waking up. And so that's a powerful exercise that I rarely do, but I love it. It's some form of a windmill where I go down and then I extend my arms overhead. This is what I do now. And this is such a great exercise to loosen almost everything up. It's the shoulder, it's the back, it's the hips, it's the legs. So one arm reaches for the floor, you push one hip to the side, then rotating the T-spine to the front. And now I imagine I stand in a huge barrel. I hold my hips with my hands. And now I imagine I want to touch the barrel with my hips. And there's only, if any, a little micro bend in my knees, but everything is happening in the hips. And one thing that I always do, and that's what we also tell our clients, is exaggerate the movements. Exaggerate them like your life depends on it. Move these muscles to the full range of motion. Feel some crackling. Feel that your body's moving. And now this is what I call an overhead hinge. So I hinge, and at the same time I extend my arms overhead. So I have great activation of the hips as well as from the upper body, the chest, the arms, everything's working. I love this. It's the next level of a hinge. So the first thing that you have to just master is the hinge in and all by itself. But with that overhead hinge, you're really adding another layer of difficulty, but also mobility and strength on top of it. Because don't forget, your arms have weights are a weight too. So if you lift your arms up, gravity affects your arms as well. Doesn't have to be a weight all the time. Now we start leg circles, mobility as well as balance. And so now I draw a bigger circle, again focusing to keeping the leg extended so that the bone is moving in the socket of my pelvis. The upper leg is getting that good, nice stretch. And it's also already a strengthening exercise to wake my body up. And then the other side. And that short that I'm wearing, I really love it. I think the brand is Nebbia. It's perfect. It is elastic, so that means it gives away when you work with it. So when you do a particular exercise like the snatch that I'm doing in this set, you don't want to wear clothes that limit movement. You need to wear clothes that allow your body to move through its full range of motion. So now the leg balance and circles are finished. So now I want to bend my spine and I reach between the legs. Awesome exercises. And now I stand back into a shoulder width stance, extend the arms overhead. Now I look back and I lean back, hyperextending the spine, holding that position, coming back, exhale. And now sumo step or sumo stance, and now side to side squat. It's not that long ago since we started incorporating the side-to-side squat, body weight only, unloaded into the warm-up. Such a powerful exercise. You bend the knees, the ankles, as well as the hips on the leading leg, and the opposite leg gets a perfect stretch. Again, we want to loosen up the brakes, and then I push the knee a little bit in so I get some more activation from the muscles. Still in that side-to-side squat movement. I'll push the knees back to get more stretch. I really want to maximize the movement. And now this is what I call the knees over toes move. So I do the same thing, side-to-side squat, but then I shift my body weight on my toes, shifting the knees over my toes, letting it touch the floor, and then I pull my upper body backwards, and here I get this powerful stretch in the hip flexors. Again, and mind you, I'm so warmed up now, so I feel my body is already starting to sweat. That's exactly what you want. You don't want to activate or stress your body too much in front of a performance. So I was looking at the clock. I'm still perfect in time. You don't want to overdo it. You want to find the perfect sweet spot. And so getting comfortable and the uncomfortable again. So I sit down into a squat position. I wiggle my shoulders back and forth. I want to make sure that my calves connect with my hamstrings. And now I do some upper body movements. So keeping the elbows up, arms up, elbows extended, knees out, chest up. This is a overhead squat movement, so I want to mobilize the hips as well as the upper body. We say that the overhead squat defines how well your upper and lower body communicate with each other, making sure that everything's nice. And so I lay on the floor, hip activation, so pushing one leg into the floor, lifting the other leg up and extending it, and then I'm pushing through the midfoot, and then switching sides, the same thing again, hips up, and then down. And now bringing one leg to the right side, then looking towards the other side or the opposite side, keeping that position. And now switching legs or switching sides. Again, it took time for me to build up that mobility, and the way I built it up was through kettlebell training. I never felt that I had to do anything additional. I just did a lot of kettlebell stuff. I learned it the proper way, and it mobilized the heck out of my body. A couple of push-ups to wake up the upper body. Then I learned this or saw this from Dennis Vazilev. So you go into the full lockout position of the push-up. You let your body hang so that all of the weight is now hanging on your joints or on your frame. Powerful stuff. And now we're still moving. I'm wiggling back and forth. We have a couple of minutes to go. So now I'm almost done with the warm-up. Again, now it's a little bit of mind control, focusing, what I want to prove, what I want to accomplish, what I want to do. And now this doesn't belong to the particular warm-up if you want to do it. This is only for competition, or if you want to perform well, or you can do it actually if you are doing a particular exercise that you want to be good in. Now here is the potentiate, the P part of the ramp protocol. I just like to call it practice. So I'm using a 20 kg kettlebell, and I'm doing a couple of reps, couple of snatches, because I know the snatch is going to be my exercise. So I just want to get a feel for the exercise, get a feel for the hand insertion, a feel for the technique with the 20, letting it drop, really getting that feeling. And now 20 feels nice, so let's go ahead and grab the 24. Mind you, I'm still highly focused. Nothing can shake me. I'm highly focused. And here we go. 24 kg felt awesome. So I knew at that time, wow, today I feel awesome. So again, doing a couple of reps with the right side and the left side. Nothing too fancy. Again, I don't want to stress the body too much. I just want to focus on the exercise, focus on the technique, and getting my body ready for what's about to happen. And I've developed a little bit my own snatch style. I know it's not the typical snatch style. It's not the traditional or orthodox stance or orthodox method that I use, but it helps my body. My body likes it, enjoys it, and this is how I move the weights the best. So here we come with the pumpkin, so 28. It's kind of like a test to see, all right, how do I feel? Pushing the legs back and forth. How does the 28 feel? And the 28 still feels nice. Again, a couple of reps with the right and the left side. And now switching sides again. Really trying to dial in that top fixation. Feeling good. And now here's what I did. I thought, you know what? I'm not gonna pick up my competitive weight because the 32 is what I have to perform in. No, now I'm gonna shock the system. I'm gonna shock my neuromuscular system by doing a couple of reps with the 34 kg. And when I do these reps with the 34, when I get started with the 32, my body gets the feeling that, wow, that's actually easier. So the last rep, that was just something that I call scare tactics. The last rep or the last couple of reps of the potentiate or practice method is with a heavier weight so that I can then safely say, all right, if I use my competitive weight, my body then says, all right, this feels easy. So that's it with the perfect 20-minute warm-up that you can do every day. I hope you got some insights and some knowledge out of it. Of course, you can also do it as a follow-along format. So enjoy it, and I'll see you in the next one. Here's the next thing that you have to do. Clean and press that like and subscribe button. Share with a friend who's also interested in kettlebells. And if you made it this far, download my free ebook in the first link in the description called the Kettlebell Code. If you're over 40, 50, or 60, you don't have a lot of time, but you still want to take care of your fitness, this is where the kettlebell comes in, and I have a shortcut for you in my free ebook. So download it right now. It's in the first link in the description, and it's 100% free.